Okay, today we'll begin our study with SD 46.13, Bandhana Karaka Sutta, the discourse on the strife bringer, A5.212. This is on page 140, and the theme here is on social strife hinders spiritual development. Now, once you see this kind of sutta, you know the situation means that there are lots of monks, and not all of them are enlightened. So this is a time when many people join the order, they become monks. It means that the Buddha has allowed the monks to ordain other monks. And the order has become very famous, and there are lots of supporters, there are big temples, a lot of food, a lot of robes. So it also attracts, the outsiders attracts people who want an easy life, who basically are lazy. Well, if they're lazy, it's not too bad, but here they quarrel and they have all kinds of problems. So these are the realities when you have a big group. So that is why the Buddha instituted the Vinaya. You have the Vinaya, we have the Dhamma, which the monks are supposed to follow, which the lay people are supposed to practice. And then you have the Vinaya, which kind of regulates the conduct and the activities, the rituals even, of the Sangha as a corporate body, if you like. It's very interesting how perceptive the Buddha is with regards to the nature of an organization. The Buddha is not only a great spiritual teacher, but is also aware of legalities of a group. So in other words, sociologically we say that the Buddha transfers his charisma to the Sangha. He doesn't put himself as the Lord of all, as a cult leader. He, to put it in a technical sociological term, he routinizes his charisma. He converts his charisma through the Sangha karma to the monastic rituals or ecclesiastical acts. So the monks can, as a body, as a corporate body, as a legal person, accept candidates to be monks and nuns. So this is itself an amazing development in the history of law, in the history of social history. But because the Buddha did all this, it also means, it reflects the social situation. There are those who need to be disciplined, in other words. So that's why the Vinaya normally is put first. Vinaya. We means out in this case, Naya to draw. Vinaya means that which draws out the negativities, the unwholesomeness, the defilements in us. Whereas the word Dhamma, or Dharma in Sanskrit, means that which stands, that which is there all the time, so to speak. It's always true, like impermanence, for example. So the Vinaya helps us to draw out this negativity from us so that we have moral virtue. We respect life, respect property, we respect others and ourselves, we respect truth, and we keep our minds calm and clear, ready for wisdom. So this sutta is talking about the dangers of strife, the dangers of quarrel and conflict and negative feelings towards each other. Sometimes we don't need to say things, we don't need to do things, but the feeling that we have or the feeling that we lack can create a rather dark atmosphere, can make people feel unhappy, and that's not very helpful. In fact, it affects us quite profoundly. It affects our health. And if we are sick and we have a negative mind, the sickness will be prolonged and it might even hasten our death. So it's good to have a positive mind, a kind of a bright mind. Very often in Buddhism we say a bright mind. It helps. So this sutta is a kind of reminder to keep away from the dark side. So the translation is on page 141, Bandhana Karaka Sutta, the discourse on the strife bringer, A5.212, page 141. The sutta starts simply originating in Savatthi. Bhikshu is a monk who is a source of strife, a source of quarrels, a source of disputes, a source of legal or ecclesiastical cases for the Sangha, can expect to have 5 disadvantages. Right, so it's quite obvious here, the Buddha is talking about the 5 disadvantages of lack of fellowship. What are the 5? Number 1, he does not attain what has not been attained. What is this that's not yet attained? Well, we have quite a number of things here. The first thing is, the simplest, of course, would be the state of being a monk. The monkness, if you like. That is the 5-year tutelage, which, to put it very simply, gives us the hang of it, of the life of a monk. So those 5 years are very important. You learn to live with the monks, act as a monk, think like a monk, feel like a monk, and live as a community. So this is something we need to attain. Another one is mental training. We have to be calm and peaceful. There's a lot of misunderstanding today because most people respect looks, uniforms, right? So whenever they see someone wearing a yellow robe or some kind of uniform, they think that this person is holy. But we are mistaking power for holiness. Right? We are looking at all this uniform as a symbol of power. Then, of course, we are contributing to this problem of misperception. And there are also those who sometimes nowadays we get people who are old or they feel that becoming a monk helps. It's a kind of a retirement plan. You don't have to do anything. You just sit there and people actually worship you and they support you because you wear a uniform. We may have someone, you can easily go to, say, South Thailand and find a temple, an affable temple, give a small donation, and then, voila, overnight you're a monk. And then without even going through the tutelage of minimum 5 years, you come back here. And people say, wow, you're a monk. And, a layman did not know the difference anyway. But then you're just still a lay person with all your old habits, all lay habits. You're just wearing this robe, going to hell, preparing yourself to go to the suffering state because you don't act as a monk. You don't know the Vinaya. You don't even know the Dhamma. So being a monk can bring you to heaven or it can bring you to hell. The roads are quite straight. These are the 2 approaches. Hell here means suffering states. We create our own fears, right? In fact, I've heard quite a lot of such and frightening stories from many of these monks, the money monks especially. Though if you know them well enough, some of these younger monks will confide in you. They say that their old teacher died a very painful death. They go through very difficult death. Of course, we're always polite. We say, they died peacefully and so on. But if you lead a life of falsehood and of deceit, and so on. These are the things that build up through your own habitual karma, and they will tell at the moment of passing away. So, in fact, in Thailand, when I was among my my late supporter, he told me something. He says, you should wear the robe with wisdom and respect for the robe. For some people, the robe can burn them, and that's very true. There are stories in the Petawatu, for example. Moggallana saw this preta flying to the air. It is a form of a nun, but the robes are all burning. And Moggallana is one who was able to tell all the stories behind all these visions. So apparently this was a nun who lived a false life as a nun and so on. So these are kind of warning that to train to be a monk and a nun, we declare ourselves to keep the rules, to practice certain things, to give up certain things. And the lay people see that as something wonderful, and they support us for that reason. So if we break this vow to deceit, then it's a very serious kind of thing. In other words, as a monk, as a renunciant, there are certain things you need to work to attain. Moral virtue, mental peace, and wisdom. These are the three trainings. Right? So that's the meaning here. He has not attained what has to be attained. Number two, he falls away from what he has attained. Like, for example, moral virtue, he might break the precepts. In the case of second training, meditation, he's not able to focus after meditation. And of course, you lack wisdom, so you can lose these things. You can't lose awakening, but you can lose your way. You can go out of the path, so to speak. Right? So this is a kind of warning not to be lost, basically. Number three, his bad reputation is spread about. People hear about this. And the sad thing is, people usually blame Buddhism. Right? The unwise will blame Buddhism. Right? Those who belong to other religion will say, oh, look at the Buddhists, right? So this is another big problem. But of course, the wise Buddhists, they know these are actually personal things. This person has a bad reputation. But the world being what it is, if you respect someone or if you admire someone, this person can do no wrong. No matter what this person does, say, oh, this action surely is meaningful, it's got some kind of symbolism, even though it's something wrong. But if you don't respect the person, you can say everything this person does is wrong. Right? So it's our perception. That is why knowing the Dhamma is very important, so that we know what's right, what's wrong. And more importantly, because we know the Dhamma very well, we inspire the monks and nuns to keep to the rules and to practice. So it's all right if we to gently tell the monks and the nuns to teach the Dhamma to us, and we understand the Dhamma, we understand the Vinaya, then you have good monks and good nuns too. So it's like two hands clapping. You find good monks, good nuns, good laymen, good women. It's a wonderful situation. Number four, there you are. The Buddha says this kind of renunciant, monk or nun, dies confused. This is what I've been saying earlier on. You find some of these young monks who tell you that their teachers, their old teacher, died a very difficult death because they have not really been living a renounced life. They have taken the robe merely as a means to make money, merely as a business, if you like. So this is what we have to be aware of, and all these things can be corrected. So the standards remain with us, in other words. And then number five, this is the last one. With the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in a plane of misery, a bad destination, a lower realm, hell. Of course, today we scoff at hell, we say, oh, no such thing, and so on. Well, hell is not a place you go to. It's a mental state you create for yourself. We don't know it until we experience it. Imagine you're living in some really violent place, lots of killing and bombing and war. So you find lifespan is short, there's always this danger of some bomb exploding and so on. So hell, in other words, is characterized by violence. It can be in a family where family is not happy, where parents abuse their children, or the children who are adult abuse the parents who are advanced in age, physically abuse them. There's lots of violence, unhappiness, and pain, wounding, and that's hell. So remember, hell is a mental state that is with us all the time. It's just a matter of time that we can experience these things. We might wake up in the middle of the night, suddenly have this terrible fear of death or some kind of suffering. That is a hint of what it's like. So these states are real. Nobody puts it on you. The Buddha definitely does not do this to you. The Buddha wants you to get out of this kind of state. We inflict these things upon ourselves through our negative thoughts, through our negative acts, through our negative speech. So these are warnings the Buddha is giving us. Don't fall into this kind of situation. You have this wonderful opportunity to train your body and speech, to train your mind, and to build up your wisdom. So you should use it. Do not create strife. Right? So the Buddha concludes by saying, Bhikshus, among who is a source of strife, a source of quarrels, a source of disputes, a source of legal or ecclesiastical cases for the Sangha, can expect to have these 5 disadvantages. Right? So this is a kind of warning for the monks. Of course, we may ask, that's interesting, this sutta is meant for the monks, but it is preserved in the Anguttara Nikaya, which are teachings meant for lay people. This is to remind the lay people, remind us that do not misperceive the Sangha. Lay people can help to maintain spiritual standards in the Sangha too. And not to idealize an unawakened monk. We don't know who's awakened, who's unawakened, but our respect, our attitude to the monks, our positive attitude to them, when we understand the Dhamma Vinaya helps these monks and nuns to be good monks and nuns, or at least, in the case of the bad ones, to restrain them, in other words. So do reflect on this sutta. There's a bit of introduction. There are lots of a list of suttas there telling you things which are connected with the practice. So do look up all this for your own growth in wisdom in the Dhamma. Okay, let's close with a short reflection. Buddhism is what we make of it. We have to respect the 3 jewels so that we can come close to them just as they are, not what we want them to be or not what we think they are, but to approach them just as they are. And as we come nearer, we are able to see more clearly who or what the Buddha really is, what the Dhamma really is, who or what the true Sangha really is. And in that way we grow in wisdom, and our strength and moral courage also helps us to further propagate the 3 jewels to others so that their lives too are enriched. Reflecting in this way is wonderful good karma. By the power of this karma, may we be blessed with good health, wisdom, and moral courage to aspire to stream winning, at least in this life itself, And by the same truth, may our loved ones, may those who are practicing the Dhamma in the right way too, who be well and happy, and see the true teaching in this life itself. And by the power of the three jewels too, may those who are teaching the wrong things, have lost their way too, return to the true path in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.